Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Arrow Panel. I'm your host, Buzzard, aka James McGarren.
I'm Jeff Lloyd, Funga.
Roger Clark, aka @RogerClark on Twitter.
And we're joined now on this special audio version of the podcast with our beloved producer, Dalton Runberg, aka Blue Chaos.
Yes. Originally Blue Chaos, and then currently Blue Chow is my now out of retirement name. I used to shout from behind the computer, but now actually they've given me the opportunity to sit in front of a real mic this time.
Yeah, so Dalton is, he's done such a wonderful job with a lot of things with the Arrow Panel. He's done all the graphics, he's done the intro and the outro and the editing and the coordination with the live and stuff like that, and so
a lot of social media,
lots of social media stuff, and so thanks for everything that you've done for us, and it's really great to have you as a speaker now. So tell us a little bit about your history with DDR and dance games.
Yeah.
Well, where are you from originally?
I'm from Fresno, California.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah. I started playing when I was like 12, I guess. I remember the first time I played DDR or heard about it was that my brother went to like a church event and they had like a home pad set up with like fourth nicks or something. And I remember I was in 4th grade, and after the weekend we would always have like show and tell, or like, oh, what'd you do over the weekend? And I remember going up to the front of my class and like being like, oh, I played this really cool game this weekend. It's called Dance Dance Revolution. And so yeah, I played DDR for a while, and then when ITG came out, Fresno was actually the 7th arcade. Blackbeard's, a pirate-themed arcade in Fresno, was the 7th location to ever get In the Groove 1.
It's a perfect connection within the groove. The piracy one.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
So that was like October 2004. So started playing ITG really early, and I pretty much stuck with it until recently, and Ace came out. I barely played Supernova, didn't really touch Supernova 2 or anything in between. So when Ace came out, I had a lot of catching up on charts to do because I was like not familiar with any of them.
I think most of us did.
Well, we actually noticed that you had a bit of an advantage, I think, over a lot of DDR players too at the time. Having come from a strong ITG background, I feel like the ITG players who came back and started playing Ace again, they really were picking up a lot of slack on the like 18s and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of stopped playing ITG for a long time. For like a couple of years, like I didn't really play it very seriously the past couple of years, or even in college. So I kind of had to get back into shape with it, and I'm still working on that. But yeah, I used to write step charts a lot for ITG. I used to do the edit tournaments that we had on ITG Freak. At one point, I had the most posts on ITG Freak because I would come home from school and I would just hop on ITG Freak and just like
let the shit posting
I would just reply to like every thread. You'd see like most recently replied by, it's just like Blue Chaos, Blue Chaos, Blue Chaos, Blue Chaos, all the way down, because I had nothing better to do when I was 15.
Perhaps a lot of our listeners will know you from there then.
Yeah, and if anybody's played ITG Rebirth, I stepped a couple charts in there. I stepped Ice Cold. I stepped 1,000 Cranes.
Oh, 1,000 Cranes is so good.
I would do some different things with it now.
You also stepped some stuff on ITG3. You did Dragostea Dinte.
Oh yeah,
from ITG3 was one of my favorite. Like I used to play that on like in like 2007. That was my jam. And
yeah, me too.
It's so crazy. Like I met you years later, and then years after that, found out that you had written that chart. I was like, dude, I used to play that chart all the time.
You reminded me that I wrote that chart.
Yeah, well now because Simply Love and ITG actually shows you the step artists.
Yeah.
ITG 1 and 2 never actually used to do that.
And I was like, I wrote that?
The ITG2 theme, when the song was starting, it would say Steps by.
I don't think it does. It'd say like Steps by Kyle.
Or whatever.
Kyle Ward or whatever, bottom left corner.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's on ITG2 and not ITG3?
Yes,
No.
ITG2.
Yeah.
Because I remember it being...
Well, anyway,
Wow.
I also stepped Space Shooter.
Space Shooter is another good one. I still have that flag after like 10 years.
It's probably one of my favorite charts that I've ever written. So if you play ITG Rebirth, give those a try. And I stepped like half of Teklo. And then somebody else rewrote the other half of it. So
Yeah,
three and a half charts in ITG Rebirth is my claim to fame.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like it.
So thanks for joining us, and looking forward to having you as a permanent speaker on the show. So speaking of the show, just wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Arrow panel. So we kind of sent out a sort of like a survey-like thing on our social media channels about what you think about the video format and us doing it live. The live format was really, really fun. We love doing the video stuff. But we thought we're going to try doing an audio-only version of the podcast for a little while because we feel like we can kind of more rapidly iterate on this. We might be able to do a weekly show, and there's lots, it feels like kind of like a more casual environment. We can kind of talk to each other instead of having to address the camera all the time.
And we don't have to put our makeup on.
Yeah, no makeup and no technical hurdles or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that this new format is we're going to be able to like crank out a lot more shows and talk about a lot more stuff. But besides not being live and not being video, it's going to be pretty much the same. Lots of news. We're going to have guests still. Lots of stuff to talk about, and we're still taking questions and we still want you to be a part of the show. So make sure to engage with us on Twitter, Facebook, and we don't have a live chat anymore, but we feel like those are pretty good for reaching out to us.
I also want to point out, like, we can do a lot of cool things with this format. Like, I really like the idea of this being more of a casual conversation because I basically spend all my time talking about DDR anyway.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to like share those conversations with everyone, but also like I want to do like live Q&A so that we can actually have like a YouTube chat and you can directly ask us questions. We don't actually have a topic necessarily, and also I know a lot of people were big fans of a lot of the like the advanced techniques video. I would love to make more videos like that of just just focusing on like a specific technique and then helping people get better at those things.
Yeah, something that's like a couple minutes long that you can watch and you don't have to sift through an hour of us talking about our boss songs or whatever.
Exactly. Like,
you just go, how to do crossovers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is going to be a really, really cool format, I think, just to, this is the more of the conversation side of things, and we'll talk about a lot of things from things that are kind of silly and fun to like more of the competitive side. So there'll be a little bit of everything here, and then like more tailored content like on our YouTube channel or something like that. So
yeah. So if you guys have any feedback for us, just let us know at SF_evolved on Twitter, or write to us on our Facebook page. Let us know what you think about the new format. Let us know if you have any comments about the show direction and anything like that. We love to hear from you guys. And all of your comments have been very helpful so far.
And if you don't want to put us on blast publicly, you can also
you can slide into our DMs.
Yeah, slide into our DMs or email us at sfevolved@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. So, boy, it is nice to just be relaxed here. I'm not even wearing pants right now.
Yes, he is. He is totally doing that.
Actually, I'm wearing my traditional all black attire.
Yes.
So, anyway, let's jump into some news because we have a lot of news to talk about.
We took quite the hiatus. There's a lot of stuff that happened while we were gone.
Yeah, it's actually pretty amazing.
How long has it been?
Like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 5 weeks or something.
That's a pretty decent chunk of time in the DDR world.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
DDR doesn't get nearly as much new content as other music games.
But there's just so much stuff happened, particularly the last month.
Yeah.
For some reason.
But anyway, so I thought we'd start off by talking about some new machines that are coming around. So I don't know if you heard about this, but there's a new wave of what I think are post-production cabinets coming from a Korean company called Uniana, and they're hitting the stateside right now. So there's a couple of new machines in California. The Philippines is now getting a new stock of machines, and Australia will also be getting some new machines later this year.
Yep.
And so this is really exciting. So there's some round ones, especially in our area. There's a round one in Texas that now have 2 machines. I think it's probably a temporary thing.
They're going to do exactly what they did last time, I think, which is while they, round one probably bought 25 or something more cabinets, they're putting DDR Ace at locations that don't have them, but also sometimes doubling up on locations that do already. Mm-hmm. So San Jose, for example, had 2 machines at launch, lost one to, I think ours went to Colorado.
Denver.
Yeah. And then now we just got one of the Uniana ones back. So that will probably leave once round one starts opening more stores. They'll just, take...
There's also another one at Sun Valley Mall in Concord.
Yeah. But this is happening everywhere. I think there's round one in Detroit that either opened or will open.
I think it is opening soon.
And I think they got 2.
That's crazy.
Which is all. I mean, all this is good. It's just like, don't get too comfy having 2 machines.
Yeah, we made that mistake once before.
All of a sudden it was just like, and it's gone. Goodbye. Well,
and then we're like,
People flipped out.
Now I don't want to play DDR anymore.
well, yeah, lines doubling in size. It's kind
Right now, it's a great temporary relief.
Yeah.
Because you go to Eastridge Mall and it's not like a 13-person wait anymore.
Yeah.
You can just play.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's some new round one locations. There's one in Detroit. There's also one that's opening up just east of Cleveland, right?
Yeah, and Mentor.
So in Mentor, Ohio, there's going to be a new round one there, and I'd say 99% sure that that's going to have a DDR white cab.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So many Ohio people who
Yeah.
I have just been
Yeah.
wanting to have access to Ace are now going to be able to play. It's going to be really great.
Yeah.
There's a really fantastic community out there, so it's going to be like a major boost to DDR just in general.
It's always crazy to me to think that Ohio, like, it's a huge scene. Like, it was, and it still is.
Yeah.
And yet it's, like, very, especially in the wave of DDR Ace, like, they very underrepresented.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it's strange, because obviously, maybe, like, round one execs didn't really think that Ohio, of all places, would be, like, this, like, hub of DDR.
But that's where so many of the, like, ITG tournaments were, like...
Yeah, exactly. Fort Rapids. Like,
Fort Rapids and GOM were all there.
Exactly.
Like,
it's just, like, it's not what you think. Like, I'm sure, like, some Japanese executive is just, like... Like, why would we open a store in, like, Ohio? There's, like, 3 people there. Turns out those 3 people are really good at DDR.
Yeah, what do people in Ohio have to do? Well, they get on the internet and they research about weird music games from Japan. They become obsessed with them. That's what happens.
Yeah.
does Ohio mean anything in Japanese?
Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohio goes like,
Yeah. So maybe they just didn't
They
realize
were
it was
just
a
like,
state.
no one wants to go to the arcade in the morning. We're just
Yeah. Actually, I find that Ohio's kind of a melting pot, isn't it? So
Yeah, I think it definitely is because it's, they call it like the heartland of America because it's kind of heart-shaped and it's right in that spot.
Yeah.
And it's like not quite East Coast. It's not quite Midwest. You gotta kind of go through it to get places.
get anywhere.
So some people just kind of gave up.
Also, also 3 really big cities: Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. The 3 C's.
The big 3.
the big 3. So if I'm not mistaken, you moved to Ohio for DDR.
Yeah, I did. I moved from Kentucky to Ohio just because there were so many good DDR players there. I was like, well, I want to go where like Jameis Eichenauer and Kevin Bodie and like DJ Stunna where they play. So
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was
it was
really
awesome.
good.
Nice. I mean, you're driving along, you stop at an arcade, they got DDR, and you're like, what else do I need?
Well, just
giving up here. Just the stuff. So the more about these machines. So as far as I know, the first shipment of white calves were... by the way, none of this is actually confirmed. This is based on my research, my independent research on these machines. But I do have some contacts that know things. So the first wave of machines that hit America... were supposedly pre-production cabinets it was like kind of like the first run of what was going to hit the rest of the world later in 2017, which actually ended up happening. So it looks to me like these Korean cabs, the ones from Uniana, are the post-production cabinets. And they are gearing up to ship all around the world, so not just to America.
The original ones were, you said, made in Taiwan, actually, right?
The ones that we got in America, I believe, were made in Taiwan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the case for the existing white cabs that were in Japan.
Those were probably also pre-production.
I guess I don't know anything about like supply chain stuff, but like pre-production for like 3 or 4 years sounds like a long time. But I guess that's their cabs as big as
it's low volume. And
that's true.
They're big cabinets.
It's really interesting. Like you can tell. It's like the cabinets that the first wave that America got were like. I'm looking at the buttons on the front. The buttons are massive. Like the up, down, left, right on the actual cabinet are massive on the Uniana ones and tiny.
Yeah, so this is going to be the most striking thing that you'll notice about these new cabinets. The menu buttons are really big. They're brighter. They have like brighter LEDs in them, and I find them to be a little bit more clicky. Although Roger, I think, disagrees.
Well, the one that I played on at Eastridge Mall in San Jose, it seemed less clicky, but it's possible that the Concord one was different. Who knows?
Maybe, I don't know.
To me, the most noticeable thing was the screen.
Yeah, the screen is different. I find the brightness to be higher, but the contrast to be a bit lower.
Yeah, it seems a little less saturated, but it's still a great screen, still huge, and it's still a DDR Ace cabinet.
Yep, no delay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any problems with delay. The pads, I feel like people are saying that they're undersensitive right now.
They just need to get worn in.
Yeah, they just need to get worn in. I think a lot of people actually, especially in California, forgot what the whitecaps were like when we first got them.
Plus, people ended up modding pads and stuff, and everyone's like, I think people actually just open them up, put foam in there and stuff.
I did that to the 2 cabs that were at Eastridge Mall.
Exactly. So one of them now does not have any of that.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you get one of these new cabs and you find them to be undersensitive, I'd say just wait for them to break in.
Yeah.
A little bit, and it'll be good.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, like, I think back to... so I lived in Japan for 3 months, right when DDR 2013 came out, and right when brand new white cabs, that was the next generation, right? And I remember playing on one in Kyoto, and I could not do anything higher than a 15. I literally, like, they were so undersensitive that I could not, like, even stepping as hard as I couldn't stream, like, 160 BPM, 16ths or something. And that, like, caused an uproar in Japan. Like, it was, like, widespread. Everyone hated it. A couple of round ones, like, bought the new cabinets and then yelled at Konami, like, almost publicly and said, like, you need to, like, replace our cabs with X cabs because everyone likes X cabs.
Yeah.
And eventually things got better. I think they sent out new panels at one point. They did some sort of, like, hot fix, and I think it ended up being okay over time.
Wow.
So that's another thing that I've heard. I haven't played on the new cabs yet, but I've heard that people have saying that the panels move around a little bit more, that maybe they're smaller than the actual...
So I don't think so. I think that's another case of breaking in, because if you've actually looked inside of the panel of a brand new DDR machine, they do come with foam already on the L brackets. Go back to our episode about which episode was that? Advanced Techniques.
That was Advanced Techniques, yeah.
Where we talked about the inside of the DDR panel. It's actually kind of helpful to know if you're getting really good at the game. But anyway, there's a piece of foam on the L bracket, and when it's brand new, it comes with kind of like a really thin piece of plastic on the very top of it, and that wears down really quickly over time.
Interesting.
And so I think right now that the plastic is still there, and so it's slipping around. But once the plastic wears down, it's going to be rubber against plexiglass.
Yeah, and plus the plexiglass is also going to wear down eventually.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like merge.
Yep.
Basically, kind of scratch each other and.
Yeah. So
it needs a little bit more friction in there, maybe. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's a temporary thing.
The news about it coming to Australia and the Philippines is also great.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by Australia, and because the Philippines still is kind of in like considered like the Asia territory, right? Like Konami has had a presence in Asia or like outside of Japan for a long time. It's like there's actually a really cool chart for, depending on where you live in Asia, what games you can enter for KAC. Because they've like released Sound Voltex in Indonesia, but not some of the, like, that's probably not actually accurate, but they, like, someone made a table because there were only certain games that were released in certain areas.
Yeah.
And so I think they're, like, the Philippines made a lot of sense. Australia, though, that was the thing that solidified it for me. That's like, this is going worldwide. That's just where we are now. Like, this is a worldwide game again, finally.
Yeah, I can't wait for there to be tournaments in places like Sydney or Manila or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like back when I was a teen, driving a few hours to play DDR, that was cool. But now, like, taking a trip across the Pacific, that seems even more badass. I can't wait to do it.
I would do it. Absolutely.
So one interesting thing, though, I don't know if this matters at all, but the Philippines cabs are, they don't have Ace marquees.
That's right.
They have like DDR 2013
Yeah.
marquees. So it's interesting that, like, right now, like, the US is the only, or I guess North America is the only region that got Ace marquees. And I'm wondering why that is.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know for certain that the cabs in the Philippines are from Uniana. Do you know if they are?
I don't know. I thought they had the bigger buttons. I did see the bigger buttons.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's kind of mysterious.
Yeah.
Don't know about that.
Yeah, but a player from the Philippines said that when they registered for EMUs, that selectable regions included Australia, New Zealand, and Indonesia, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that one's new or not, or if there already is there.
I think they already, or Singapore had it.
I'd love to go to Bali too.
Yeah, this
Sounds
is going to be
great.
so cool. Like, because we were talking about this on a previous show, but like, filling out your area browser, it's so much harder now.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a good thing. Like, you got to play in like all these different prefectures in Japan and then all these different countries.
Yeah.
That would be so cool to like spend 3 months and just like hop around the world and play DDR.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about Canada yet. Anybody hear anything about Canada?
Well, Ontario has a cabinet, right?
Oh, they do?
Really?
Yeah, the Dave & Buster's there. I thought they did, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, I know that one dude, that Nathan guy,
Yeah,
who MFC'd Air Heroes.
Yeah,
Is that where he plays?
I think so.
Huh.
I could be wrong.
There's also a city in the U.S. named Ontario, I believe.
There's Ontario.
There's Ontario, California.
Yeah, California.
But
Well, I'm almost positive that someone in Canada has access to Ace, and I thought it was the Nathan guy. Like I'm pretty sure that he plays there.
Well, anyway, let us know if you're Canadian and you hear anything about what's going on with DDR.
we need
Let
a
us know.
Canadian connection.
Yeah, we need a Canadian connection. So, but that's why we have our listeners. Anyway, yeah. So that's everything about the new cabs. Very exciting. I'd say if you live in a town where you don't have DDR Ace yet, then stay tuned. Oh, there's one more thing I want to mention about that. I forgot. So I heard also a rumor about these the DDR Ace cabinets that are going to individual distributors, not Round Ones or Dave and Buster's. That Konami is providing a special router so that you can get onto eAmusement, but they are not charging a monthly fee like they do in Japan.
Really?
To other countries besides Japan. So it's likely that that's going to be a free service provided by Konami.
I guess if they're selling the cabs, I don't know. Like it was always like I've heard lots of different information of how it works in Japan.
Yeah.
Like going from the whole like lease model where like you get the upgraded kits for free, or you get the cabs for free maybe, but then
Yeah.
you have to pay like a fraction of the Pacelli that goes in the machine.
My guess is that Konami simply hasn't worked out the logistics for how to charge for a monthly subscription service for all around the world.
Internationally.
Internationally.
Yeah.
So
I guess so.
That might be
I think that they're providing the service for free in the beginning.
That'd probably be the best plan.
Yeah.
Because the least confusing.
Yeah.
Or roll an extra into the cost of the machine itself, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine that they want to get people hooked into the eAmusement service.
Yep.
Maybe that's like, it's kind of the promotion of like, hey, like we want to make this as easy as possible. Here's eAmusement for free.
Right.
Also, here's Sound Voltex now. Like, it's not just a round one exclusive or
Yeah.
something. Oh, as you know, after a year or two, it's like, hey, now it's a monthly fee if you want. Like,
Yep.
once you kind of like, you know, the old bait and switch, right?
It seems like they could even write a software update that makes the router not even necessary. You know?
Yeah, the router's more of a security thing, actually. They probably do need that in the meantime. But anyway, this is good news for private owners, because I think that there is a potential for private owners to get access to the eAmusement network. Potentially.
I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it's 50-50 chance. But,
I was told specifically by Konami that they will never sell to private owners.
Yeah, that's what Naoki Okada.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, he told us.
Our liaison in Japan when I went to KAC, we asked him specifically because I really want to buy a DDR8 cabinet.
I said the same thing. He was like, "No, sorry."
yeah, I think at one point they probably also said we'll never sell DDR in America. Period.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
but I think
True.
this is a little bit more of like a philosophical thing, not like, or like,
A logistical thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
we'll see.
I will be thrilled if I could buy a DDR8 cabinet
Yeah.
and keep it up to date and like.
We'll
be
see.
on the network
Maybe
and
there's a
everything.
loophole.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
there's
create a
probably
shell, LLC or something.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
invite Naoki Okada over to your place and just pretend like it's an arcade.
Rather than like private owners, you might have to have an actual arcade, an individual arcade.
Yeah, maybe.
So not just like you actually would have to have the business in order to get the
That
machine.
doesn't seem
maybe.
so hard. We could do that.
We could do that. Yeah, let's see. Anyway,
Steve was just telling us in IRC how to create a shell company.
that's right. Yeah, this is also good for tax evasion. I heard. All right. So anyway, let's move on. So there's in other news, there's a bunch of new songs that came out recently, but unfortunately,
Oh, new songs? Can I go to the arcade and play them?
No.
I'm sorry, Dalton, you
Oh.
can't. They're
Darn it.
Asia only,
Ugh.
APAC only. Actually, Japan only, or just Asia? So
It's Asia.
Koreans can play
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Huh?
of course.
Yeah, that's
It's just us that get shafted. I mean, we shouldn't complain too much, but like,
Yeah, so don't freak out too much because these songs are they're all idol songs and Toho songs.
Hey, some people
So-
might like that.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good songs, but they're not. It's not like a I think we all kind of crave the original stuff from the original artist.
Why do you need Konami original songs?
Yeah, what exactly?
many reasons.
Period.
So yeah, I thought we just we talk about them anyway though, since it's part of DDR news and they're pretty cool charts. So the first one it's called the English translation is Cherno's Perfect Math Class.
Yeah.
And it's Toho song.
Yeah. So it's basically
It's
the EDM remix is already in DDR Ace and actually available everywhere, not just Asia.
Mhm.
So it's the yeah. So it's the one that starts at 175. Like the EDM remix starts at 175 BPM,
Mhm.
and then at the first step goes down to 130. It's because it's the EDM remix, and so they have like the first bit of the song, and then they cut to the EDM version of it. It's really, really fun to see the original in DDR now, because it doesn't do that. It's 175. It has this same exact intro, and then it just doesn't slow down.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're like, huh, that's interesting. Like, even though that's what it should be,
It's like the possession EDP of.
it's a little different. But it's a 13, and I'm you can't see me right now, but I'm using air quotes to describe the 13.
13.
It is very simple, but it has the Afronova turns. So it kind of goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's like kind of left, down, right, left, up, right. So that's like kind of the shtick for the whole song.
Yeah.
It's nothing really to write home about.
Yeah.
It's just nice. So basically, that song had its 9th anniversary. I think that's the reason that these songs got added.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this song plus another remix of it, but that one's very different and a lot more interesting.
You mean Himawari Sunset?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Himawari Sunset has a different name, but it's basically the same rhythm, or the same melody.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically Toho in a nutshell. It's just like, for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I don't really claim to know a lot about what Toho is, but like, Toho is like, I think it's the shoot 'em up stuff, right? Someone's gonna like rip me a new one.
Yeah, it's a shmup series.
Yeah. And basically it got really popular because of the music, and then people just started remixing all of the music, and it became a thing that like you remix songs from this game. So a lot of songs have the same melodies, a lot of songs that you think of like Konami originals or something like Struggle. We talk about Struggle all the time. Struggle is a Toho remix, so like you might hear a song with the same melody as Struggle somewhere else on the internet.
Which, by the way, this was actually the original idea behind Sound Voltex. So Sound Voltex was supposed to be all the music in Sound Voltex was supposed to be all remixes.
Yeah.
Kind of like community made stuff.
And it started out that way. Like it was all basically remixes, and a lot of them were Toho remixes. There's like a really vibrant community for just like kind of underground music artists who don't tour. They're just kind of people who just make music, and they tend to remix like Toho stuff in Japan.
I think Red Alice got started that way.
Yeah,
the big Dojin music scene. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's something that I think is very Japanese, and maybe makes sense why these songs didn't make it outside of Japan.
Yeah, but it's really interesting. Himawari Sunset is so close to, like, the melody is very much Cherno's Perfect Math Class,
but it's a swing version.
It's just like completely different take on it, and I have to tell you that it's one of my favorite charts that's come out recently.
It's spectacular.
Like, it is. I don't know who can like come back with me, take a trip to Supernova 2, but Angelus from Supernova 2 is one of my favorite charts that's ever been in DDR.
It's pretty good.
And it's just the way that it mixes in the 16ths with the 12th notes. And that's basically what Himawari Sunset does. It's just like, here's some 12ths, and you're having a great time. Like, it's just a super well-written chart. I want to MFC it so bad the next time I go to Japan.
So this one is a 13, but I think it's pretty solid.
That is, it's actually a 13.
Because it's got some tricky time signature stuff.
Yeah, it's got very interesting rhythms, and like you said, switching back and forth between 16ths and 12ths.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly my shit.
Yeah.
It's a really cool song, though.
Yeah. The song's just really, really good, too. Like, I want to just, bump that shit.
It's very jazzy.
In my Honda Civic,
It's just like Ride the Bass.
It's just like Ride the Bass, basically.
So the last one, this one did not have an impact on me at all. Do you know how to say this?
Oh yeah, I was gonna actually research how to say it before the show, and I forgot. So it says Kimi something.
Kimi something, aso, or abokumo.
It's basically
It's a 12 with just 8th notes.
So it's basically an idol song.
It's the Osamatsu song, the doom 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 doom. It's the same people who did that. They did this song, I believe.
It's like a girl band.
Yeah, I think so. And this is just like, apparently, I think Aaron or someone said that like the vocals were by Asaki. Like he just wrote the lyrics for this thing. I don't know if it's like some sort of, it's idol adjacent. I was like, this is gonna be the weirdest like phrase I've ever said in my life. It's idol adjacent. But it's nothing to write home about. It's kind of just
so it's by the same people that did the Osamatsu-san theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I was watching Osamatsu-san last night, and
you were watching?
Yeah,
like the
anime.
Oh, okay. I was
at
the chart, or I don't know.
During the credits, there's actually something. There's a credit that says Konami Amusement.
Oh,
so maybe they're involved with the production of the show. I was wondering why we got that theme and as part of the American Ace release and not this thing.
That could be.
So maybe it's because Konami's part of the show or something. I don't know.
The Old Boys Club.
They got their tendrils in all sorts of random stuff.
They do. They're
That's
really
Japan.
trying to break into the idol scene.
Yeah.
And that's the song that hasn't come out yet, but was announced, was the Dreaming Ing, which is like...
It's another idol song.
Yeah, like, it is specifically for, like, their new idol game. But Konami's, like, realizing, okay, well, we tried putting a bunch of waifus in games, and people still don't like them as much as, like, Love Live or something, or Idol Master.
Yeah.
And so we'll just make our own idol game. It's like, well, you're, like, 3 years late, but... Okay, I guess if it means we get a new song in DDR,
I wonder if
then
it's going to take off. I don't know.
But it's still unclear on whether or not we're going to get that in the US. Because
I suspect probably not.
Yeah, if all the other ones...
Well, if it's
Yeah.
related to a Konami project.
that's the thing. If it's actually Konami who made the song, which it looks like it is, then we might get it because there's no cost for them to give it to us. Whereas these other ones, like, I'm not really... Well, definitely the Toho stuff is, like, must have cost them an arm and a leg for some of these licenses.
Maybe.
And so, I mean, it's like 50-50 at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sort of on the topic of just these songs, like, it's getting to the point where it's kind of frustrating, like, that the US doesn't get them.
Yeah,
It hasn't happened that much, though.
but the thing is, it happens enough where it matters that, like, for them to, like... What I'm nervous about is, like, Konami is sometimes making a conscious decision of, like, okay, we're going to license this song. Where do we license it? And it seems to be the trend is, like, we're going to license it for Asia only. Whereas, like, Konami Originals, I don't think anyone doubts that we're going to get those. It's really the question of actual licenses, which
Yeah.
a lot of times are, like, back in Extreme, the licenses were the reason you played Extreme. You wanted to play all the Eurobeat and, like, I mean, people played Afronova and stuff, but...
Yeah.
Like, I'm just nervous that, like, it seems almost like they're setting the precedent for themselves of just like, oh, when we license something new, we're just going to license it in Asia.
Yeah.
I just don't want that to be, like, the thing that they decide is like, oh, we decided that it's just good for us to do this, rather than, like, let's see what the cost is for America or something.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get the previous batch either, the Hatsune Miku and Brain Matter Explosion Girl.
Yeah,
or
and
whatever.
Shawasei Nareru.
Yeah.
We also didn't get the Exit Tune licenses from last year. We didn't get Lost One, no Gokoku.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
We didn't get
That sounds so good.
Amano Jaku, and we didn't get...
Zeto Mitsumete.
well, no, that's totally different.
That's not from Exit Tunes. Oh,
It is, but it's not the three Exit Tunes. So, there, like, what I was hoping for was... when Ace was coming out, like, even though we were missing some songs, and Zuto Mitsumete Ite was one of them, I was hoping that going forward, they would start to license everything. Now that they knew that America was a region, instead of, like, going back and renegotiating old contracts, which I'm sure is hard, like, for everything new going forward, let's license it everywhere. But that did in September of last year, it was like Rokucho no whatever, it's the 6 billion something or other, then Lost One no Gokoku and Amano Jaku were the three songs that were from Exit Tunes that we did not get. It was confirmed. And I was like, okay, this is bad, because this means, even though they know that this exists in America, they are okay with not giving it to Americans.
Yeah. Could be, I mean, it probably is quite difficult to license these.
I mean, and, like, most of them I don't care that much about, because, like we said, like, they're just, like, 12s, which, personally I don't really care that much about, but when something like Himawari Sunset, and it's like, oh man, that looks really fun, like, I want to play that.
Yeah.
Or, like, even the Hatsune Miku, like, it's a 16, and, like, I'm trying to, like, PFC more 16.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, air quotes,
And
16.
that would be one that would be pretty low-hanging
easy.
fruit.
Yeah.
that's the easiest 16.
Yeah, it's rated less than a 16 on DDR communities.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine.
It's like a 15 point something?
No,
or-
it's on the 16 page, but it's like literally the like less than symbol 16
Oh,
rather
nice.
than 16.0.
Wow.
Yeah, so
The shade.
So
Nice, David.
yeah, shoutouts to DDR community
So-
for that shade.
My prediction actually is that I think that these might even be temporary licenses.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, every license is temporary.
Yeah, but I think like it might not even make it to whatever the next major
It's very
DDR
true. I mean,
is.
that's-
so like they probably just didn't want to bother with.
I can understand that, but at the same time, it makes
Still
me sad.
sad. That's
Because, like, it used to be me thinking, like, when I saw stuff come out in Japan, like, one thing that actually really pisses me off to this day is the fact that I've never played Beautiful Life on Supernova. And it's because on Supernova, there was a 1 month time where
Oh, yeah.
they licensed a song from a movie and put it in DDR, and it was only on eAmusement, obviously only in Japan at that time, and I've never played it. And, like, I look at my, like, Supernova score tracker, like, I look at all the songs that have existed in Supernova. I have a AAA, PFC on every single one of them, except Beautiful Life. And apparently people have played it in the US, somehow someone got it working, But until I get to try on that machine, or someone tells me how to do it on my machine, I'm never going to get to play it. And it feels like it's just the completionist in me is like just contorting and Konami, why? Like,
it's true.
So like it was like I used to think back when Thank You Merry Christmas came out, I was really jealous. You went to Japan, Roger.
Yeah,
pointing at Roger right now for Christmas Japan when they released Thank You Merry Christmas. And it was like, it's going to be here for 2 weeks. And I was like, am I seriously never going to PFC this song?
I got it, too.
Yeah. Well, congrats. I was really mad at you for a while. But now I know that they bring it back every December 25th-ish time. But, it's just that thing. It's like, if do I have to, like, take a flight to Japan to play these limited time songs just so I don't feel like I'm missing out on something? I know
That's not the worst thing. But it's still it would be ideal if we could get everything.
Yeah, I know. I obviously it's not the worst thing. It's just it says more kind of about the precedent that's happening. Like I just don't want it to be just like for licenses like just throw it to Asia because it costs half as much money.
It's also like who knows what's actually happening within Konami around the DDR project right now because. Yeah. It's clear that DDR Ace is over, like air quotes over now that Endymion and Ace for Aces have been released and that it's all been done. So maybe they're on the verge of releasing the next version or they're planning it or something. And maybe these idle songs are just kind of like a stopgap measure to keep people in Japan entertained. I think they know that we're still entertained by it because it's still rolling out here and we haven't had as much time as the Japanese community to familiarize ourselves with all the songs and stuff. So from my perspective, it seems like Ace still has staying power for me.
Yeah.
It's over now. Who knows what's going to happen next?
Yeah, Japan has so much other stuff to do.
It's possible that they've already licensed a bunch of cool new stuff for the next version.
That's the thing. I mean, I could imagine a scenario where like these idle songs or something, or Himawari Sunset or something. Like they could either license it for DDR Ace and DDR Bass. Or just bass for like the entire world. So there's precedent for songs being in different folders and like previewing in a previous mix and then coming out.
Yeah, they do that for 2DX.
Yeah, so I'm not. You can't write it off entirely. My hopes aren't super high.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's move on to something that we really want to talk about, which is the Endymion challenge chart. Woo! It's not only been revealed, but also cleared by FFMs.
Damn.
So he passed it with 1 life on life 4 remaining.
Yep.
Pretty intense.
Yes.
So you want to start off, Jeff, by telling us about what you think?
Okay, so I have so many thoughts about this. I love this chart. Endymion is easily the best boss song that's ever existed.
I think we all agree.
I think. So in other news, we found out that Rabbiton's Fallen Shepherd featuring Rabbiton Strings is Arm.
Mm-hmm.
Same person who made Come to Life. Well, Iosis is the circle, right? Is the Dojin circle? I think Arm is a person, and then like Iosis, you always see after that is like the circle they're a part of.
I don't know.
So Arm also
I'm not totally sure.
I believe that's the case. I think that is.
Arm also did the 2 new songs, the 2 new Asian songs, the Cherno's Perfect Math Class and Himawari Sunset.
Yeah. Arm is and did basically the original of that.
And Come to Life, which is also a very good song.
Yes.
Really, what could have we asked for more than a boss song done by the same person who did Come to Life?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Another boss song.
And
this one actually being a boss song.
And
though.
it's just like, let's talk about the song first. I mean, I know it's been out, but like,
Yeah.
it's so good.
It goes through like 7 different genres.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind. Like
Come to Life does the same thing.
It does, yeah.
But to a lesser extent, I love that there's no vocals in Endymion.
Mm-hmm.
I normally love vocals, but like it just without the vocals, you have so much room to like just go in like totally different directions.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like a boss song, but it's also listenable.
It's just like you like read the song title and then just start like humming the song.
Yeah. We just talked about it today, and I'm just like all of a sudden I'm just like distort the data. I'm just like ba-na-na-ba-na-na-ba. I'm just like it's for hours. I just can't escape it.
It's so hype.
I think one reason why it's so good is because Arm, the artist behind it, obviously grew out of the Dojin scene, the Dojin music scene in Japan, and those people grew up listening to Bimani songs. So that guy's probably digested every boss song that's ever been made for every music game, and out of that comes Endymion, and it's just.
I think Rabbiton Strings adds like a whole it's a beautiful song.
The violins, I keep saying I love violins in any song, and they work so perfectly.
Yeah.
So the violins I thought reminded me of a Pump song. I think a lot of like Pump boss songs.
Yeah,
Well, because a lot of those are the Banya songs are
the Banya
remixes
songs, yeah.
of
Classical
classical
remixes. Yeah.
songs, but this is like a whole original song that and it just blends like the hardcore music with the violins like so well.
so good.
And
I could talk about this for hours.
I know.
So I also think it's like it was just meant to be a boss song. Like the person, I guess, Arm sitting down to write this song was like, this is going to be like they I feel like they told this person
they definitely
what
did.
the chart is going to look like before the song was even made.
I'm sure it was just like, this is going to be the hardest song.
Yeah,
in
it's going
the
to have
game.
everything.
You're gonna
So like the song, like the chart has everything, and the song has everything too.
Yeah,
so like
it's
the song
really-
has the speed ups, it has the slowdowns, it has the drops,
And all of the charts are good. The basic chart's good.
Yeah.
The difficult chart's
really fun.
Difficult's awesome.
The Expert's one of is it my favorite 18? Probably.
Yeah, it's a very good. I mean, it's a hard 18.
It's hard. It's one of the hardest 18s.
Solid 18.
But it's very good.
Yeah.
And it's not like super. There's a discussion sort of about the challenge chart and the DDR players group, but it reminded me of the expert chart even of that. Like, it's not really that like bullshit. Like, a lot of the 18s and 19s have like a lot of slowdowns and speed ups and stuff, and like Endymion really doesn't. Like,
They're pretty easy to learn.
yeah, like the speed up, especially on expert, is just a left-right drill.
Yeah.
On difficult, it's just a hold, and then you don't even have to know the next step because unlike Revolutionary Addict or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you one beat.
yeah,
before.
there's a beat so you can kind of tell what's coming up
And
next.
they're all are actually, I think, in almost every chart, or maybe every chart, it's an up-down jump.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's no matter what chart you've learned, you translate that really well to the one you're trying to get. So
Yeah.
it's so well designed that the challenge, if I can speak to the challenge a little bit, like, I didn't want to play the challenge. A lot of people were asking me, like, Jeff, are you going to do Endymion challenge? Because I was the first person to reveal it. I didn't care. Because I looked at the chart as much as I could pass, and I realized that like there was absolutely no way that I was going to be able to do it
Yeah.
because I can't combo that well.
Yeah.
And so I was waiting very patiently for Fafems to do it, or Chris to do it, or Brosoni actually got really far too. A couple people, to give a little bit of history too, some people were playing it on cut 1 or cut 2, which cut 1 and cut 2 will take the 16ths out and the 8ths out. Right? The cut 2, I think, is the more strict one.
Yeah.
Or, like,
So, but basically just to
look at some of the components of the chart.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically be able to tell. So like even before Fafems had reached there, we saw that there was that section of like what is it, 10 jumps at the end, left right jumps.
Exactly.
Like, so we could see that, and people were like, are there going to be 8 notes in between there?
Yeah, basically.
So it was kind of a guessing game to fill in the gaps there, but like people at least had sort of an idea of what the ending might be like.
And we knew we can tell roughly based on the step count. Like the first step, if you get a Marvelous, you get a certain number of points. You can sort of extrapolate that to how many points are available in the song.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was known that there were like 922 or 923 steps for a long time. It's hard because you don't know when freezes are going to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
There could have, I guess that no, we would have seen if there were shock arrows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think Caesar pointed out on Twitter earlier that Uisine, who the person who uploads those chart videos, pointed out on the video page that if we were going by the old combo count with the jumps, that the step count for Endymion Challenge would be over 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, counting jumps as 2.
Yeah, counting jumps as 2.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it does have a. So speaking of the chart, it has a lot of jumps.
Yeah. A lot of freezes too.
A lot of streams.
A lot of streams.
Yeah,
it's got everything.
It's,
just
it's
like the
so
song.
it's so well rounded, and like the patterns flow. It's not like Paranoia Revolution where there's all these like crazy like double steps and like you have to switch between sections. Like
It's not like Daggers either.
Yeah, it's a for 19. Like it's the hardest 19.
Absolutely. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, I posted about this on Twitter. This is in a league above every other 19 that's come out.
Just the crossovers at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like surprised it's not a 20.
I honestly, like, legit am surprised. Like, if I had to rate Endymion without seeing the difficulty, I would have rated it a 20.
Yeah,
Like,
and if this is a 19,
Exactly.
then what is a 20?
What is a 20?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like-
so actually, there was a question somebody asked about. Would a 20 potentially be longer? Even like is that how Konami would?
Yeah,
How
so-
long is Endymion?
So Amin,
like 2 minutes.
Amin on Twitter asked, "Do you think increasing song length and step chart is a good way for Konami to make 20 difficulty songs harder instead of gimmicks?"
Gimmicks gimmicks and boss songs are like married.
yeah.
There's the first 20 is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be even more gimmicky than the ones that we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might push like 2:15, but I don't think they're going to like be like, hey, here's the first 20. It's 3 minutes long.
And it would be nice if they didn't do that too, because historically what Konami has done is they've done the opposite of what's happened in the ITG scene, where the ITG scene is they increase the difficulty of these songs by, you got to play it for 6 minutes. You got to stream 200 beats per minute for 6 minutes long. Whereas Konami takes the strategy of, okay, like, how much can we fit into this Bimani length song?
Yeah,
that's
and
the
like,
thing.
how hard can we make it given these constraints?
Yeah, they're always going to be constrained by the fact that like a credit is a certain amount of time, and for the longer you make a song, the more you are taking away from your own bottom line.
Yeah.
If every credit is Pacelli and a cut goes to Konami, they got to make games go pretty quickly. Actually,
I like to think that they're probably thinking more creatively.
I think
so,
it
but, like,
also
you
makes
gotta
you try harder.
Yeah, they're intentionally imposing constraints. So,
Yeah. I think
But you're right too. I think that there was an overall game goal of like each game needs to be like 7 minutes or something.
Yeah, I would expect so.
Yeah.
But like the chart, Dalton was saying that there are some people who are upset about the chart, which I think is really interesting that you could be upset about this chart.
How could you be upset about a chart?
Well, that too. I'll get into that. But
let's talk about some of the specific complaints. Do you guys remember anything that people specifically?
People mainly said that it didn't flow well, which I don't really understand.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
The thing I could see, so in the middle part, there's the part where there's freezes on 16ths, and it's kind of unclear like how you do the crossover, and it's kind of unclear, like you can't visually see that like this freeze that's in the middle of a blue and a red note is actually like a 16th.
Yeah.
Because it's on a freeze. That can be a little bit confusing. It can kind of be weird to like position yourself the right way.
There are parts where you have to double step too.
Are there?
Not really.
I don't think so.
I don't think there are.
Some of the jumps are placed such that you have to turn very quickly to hit them. Especially like sort of in the beginning section, a lot of them are sort of like what I would call awkwardly placed jumps, but I think it was intentional to increase the difficulty and to tire you out. Like if they were just if it flowed better, like
it would be like egoism.
Like you're not going to get tired. Like if they're
I definitely get tired playing egoism.
The thing is, I'm sorry, like egoism actually does have a bunch of double steps.
Yes.
And but like the streams themselves all flow, quote unquote. But like Endymion is just like, it's hard because there's the middle streamy part, and on some of the freezes, you have to start the next run crossed over. And that's not obvious, but it does set you up for it. Mm-hmm. And so like I can imagine that like you look at that and you say, oh, it doesn't flow because you have to double step in the stream or something, but if you actually start it crossed over, then you're fine.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm looking at the chart again, actually. Oh yeah, so the part in particular that I was thinking of is that's the part that goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
that double step run or the foot switch.
Yeah,
thing there?
so it's foot switches.
Some of them are, but also there's one of those runs you do have to start crossed over.
Yeah.
Like it's not obvious, but like if you take a look at this chart for more than 30 seconds,
it's true.
Then you can like really digest it. I'm just like, I'm gonna gut on my soapbox a little bit here. I think it's really like Endymion CSP is such an interesting chart, and it does like it's going to improve DDR. Like it improves the game by existing because it's doing tons of things that other charts don't do, and like that merits like appreciation.
Absolutely.
Like if I want to stream at 220, my only choice was egoism. Now I can learn how to cross over at 222 and into step jumps. Like it's brutal. This chart is brutal. Brutal doesn't mean bad.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's so easy to conflate those two of just like, oh, I can't do it, or oh, it like identifies a bunch of my weaknesses. Hey, guess what? I'm really bad at drills. 24th notes at 220 BPM are gonna wreck me.
Yeah.
Their foot switches around them. That is so hard. And I'm not gonna combo that for the first 50 times I play that song.
Yeah, but does that mean it's bad?
No, it just means that I have to like really introspect and like figure out a way to do it. I saw Fefems in his video, combo that. Like he gets greats and goods, but like I can't dream of that right now. And it gives me so much to push for. And it's just like, I have such an appreciation for pushing the envelope in terms of what's possible. I think we forget how much In the Grooves did that back in the day.
Yeah.
And how much they like. No one really likes all the step jumps in Pandemonium, I don't think.
Yeah.
They're hard. Like and then there's mines everywhere.
Or
like
Tell, for that matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I remember seeing the chart for Delirium for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way anybody can do that. Like, that you can't stream for 20 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Euphoria, even.
Yeah, that like
Drill's like, ITG really pushed the envelope with a lot of these things, and people probably then looked at that and said, "Oh, that's a bad chart." Or whatever.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I'm making. Like, it's so easy to compare, especially I think DDR has the unfortunate, consequence of being a mainline game that's still very tied to In the Groove, where people will look at the line out of Endymion and then like make their own chart. And yes, it's like it flows perfectly and it doesn't throw anything you don't expect at you, because it's just like the community has sort of decided that you follow certain rules and you make a good chart out of it based on like everyone sort of like collectively deciding what goodness means in a chart. And then Konami comes out and like throws in crossovers and step jumps and 24th drills that don't really go with the music. And it's so easy to just make the one-to-one comparison and say, this chart is worse than this other chart, without actually like stepping back and thinking like, what does this chart add to the game? And like, how can it help me develop as a player? And how does it give me something like a goal or like an achievement when I beat it or something?
Yeah.
Like those things are kind of taken for granted. And I think especially over the years, we haven't really appreciated like how bleeding edge some of these things can be. Like I think when I first saw foot switches, they were the craziest things in the world to me. And if you had just made a chart, some of the charts that I've seen in the Groove that are exclusively foot switches, not exclusively, but like I think Central Utopia or a lot of the stuff in the Loaded Future Pack that Mad Matt made, that stuff was like, this is impossible. Like you can't stream and also have foot switches in the stream. That's just not happening. Your feet can't lift up that fast. And then people figured it out. Mm-hmm. And this happens in like fighting games when a character is too strong and you have to figure out ways around it, or in a MOBA where a character is overpowered and you have to like figure out what champions counter them. Like this, it's just one of those things that I think makes a game really deep and interesting. And
I like your comparison to other video games. Like think of it like a video game again. This is the boss.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that always appealed to me about DDR versus ITG is that DDR is like a legitimate like video game that was produced as a product to be sold like to people to appeal to them as like a work of art, like a self-contained work of art. And I think if you look at things like the chart for Endymion as a work of art, then you can say, oh, that's really interesting because it makes me feel something. If it makes you feel really strongly, whether your immediate reaction is that it's bad or that it's amazing, like that's a little bit more interesting and probably better for your life than you seeing just another streamy, like 6-minute long, 200 BPM ITG custom. And like what's good to me is things that make me think and things that like make me feel things, and Endymion makes me feel things.
And I want to stress that like I don't mean to bash In the Groove or anything. Like
no, I loved playing all those charts.
But even in the recent age, like I think it's step making has been such like it's like a refined art now, and there's so much customizability, and that really I think that has pushed DDR in a certain direction that it wouldn't have otherwise gone in. So like. In the same way, I think it's important to appreciate Endymion for what it brings to DDR. I think it's also important to appreciate how ITG really like pushed the envelope back in the day and continues to.
I mean, if you look at the gap between Extreme and Supernova, which is where ITG came out, like if you look at the difficulty gap from Max Unlimited or Legend of Max, I guess
PSMO, I would say,
or PSMO to Fascination Max,
exactly.
Like it's such a jump in difficulty that you can't help but like attribute that to Konami seeing ITG and go, oh, people want to play harder stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now they finally, I feel like Konami has really hit a sweet spot with making charts that are hard but are also good
and interesting.
Yeah. And so like I don't know, I'm rambling a little bit here, but I really just like I think so many of the games have such good traits to them, and I think it's important to like just take stock of all the coolness that comes out of all these different styles. and make sure like there's no right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that like they are different, and it's important to understand why different is good. If everything was the same, a lot of us wouldn't be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely would not be playing right now if I didn't have such variety in what I could do.
Yeah.
And, like, Pump brings a lot of variety in itself. Like, so you have 3 different mainstay dance games right now that all do something very, very different, and you can learn something from all of them and take them into other games. And so,
and
like,
they influence each other.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
everything is connected, right? That's
We
so,
are connected.
Yeah. I was like, that's not the quote. What is
I was gonna make an ITG disconnected joke, but
fair enough. But you know, like, it's just like, I feel like if you are the type of person who listens to the show and also like rages a lot in Facebook posts about why something is bad, like, just step back and like think about why it might be good instead, because there's a chance that the thing you think is bad is actually very good.
or I think it's also worth to distinguish, and it may be a fine line, but distinguish between this chart is bad or I don't like this chart.
Yeah. There are no charts that are bad because someone likes it, I guarantee you. So, like, it's almost like when people are saying this chart is bad, there's an implicit, in my opinion, in front of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it really, like, I think you start acting like you're talking down to people when you say, like, this chart is bad, because it can come across as saying, like,
Oh, but I like
this
that
is,
chart.
This is true. This is a true fact, and there's no, arguing with me about, like, it is objectively true that this is bad. Or even some people do it in the reverse way of just saying this chart is objectively better than this other chart. Because ITG lets you make all these customs.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody else here loves the June songs.
Yeah.
Like you
Oh,
Yeah.
are we gonna talk about June songs?
Kimono Princess and
Silver Dream.
Silver Dream and
Crazy
what
Love.
What was the one? Yeah, Crazy Love that I played the other day.
Right,
that
yeah.
Dalton's about to get some hate mail right now.
Well,
just FYI.
So, I mean, but this is what kind of made me think of it, was that, I was playing it the other day, and, like, there's and I can't put my finger on it, but there's something I just don't find enjoyable about me playing those songs. They're the charts, I guess, and I also don't particularly like the songs, but, like, Jeff loves the songs, and
so do
I
I.
am
Yeah,
a kimono
I do too.
princess.
I'm a
and-
Kimono princess.
and it's just a matter of
It's preference.
it's preference. And,
like, June is all the songs, maybe this is why you don't like them, but June songs should be easy, and they're all really hard.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the best part.
Yeah, that's
I feel like
interesting.
there's too many jumps and, like, weird. I don't know. But-
So what they're doing in all of those songs is that they're, like Jeff said, they're taking something that sounds like it should be bright and happy and easy, and they're making it hard. And the way that a lot of them make it hard is by doing things that people, like, in certain Facebook groups or whatever, might say are, quote, awkward or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing that as, like, a textural element, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't flow, but does everything have to flow?
No.
If everything flows, then nothing flows. Like, it's just, like, I always think about, like, if you give everyone a participation trophy, then, like, you might as well have not done it. Like, things need to be different.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I need to correct what I said, because there is one June song that I really like, and it's Paranoia Hades.
Oh my god. See, that's the only one I don't like.
Yeah, not a fan.
Paranoia Hades, the expert. I haven't played the challenge much, but I do like the expert, and I like the song. So
I like the way that the June charts are. I like the way it kind of colors my perception of them in the song list, even. Like, I think if they were just like 12s, I would just be like, oh yeah, that's a good song.
I mean, I like Twinkle Heart.
That's great. Sunkissed Drop is great.
Yeah, so like you'll kind of pass by them, but like when I see like Silver Dream or Kimono Princess or something like that, and I'm like coming up to them like, fuck that song, like, unbelievable, like holy shit.
Yeah.
And I just like look at it in a different way. I look at it, I'm like jamming, but then I'm also shaking my head at the same time.
Like, oh no,
Yeah.
something bad's gonna happen. Gonna mess up this crossover.
And yeah, I love how like Silver Dream, just like the first time you like as soon as you hear
just
the music
goes.
starts,
Yeah,
just bam,
it's-
starts at
But
189.
my point was, I don't think they're objectively bad. Whenever I play them, I'm just not enjoying myself.
Yeah, and
which
that's
is
fair.
Which is the point.
And you're allowed to.
Yeah.
But
Do
like
we change your
they
opinion?
do add something to the game
Yeah,
that I
for sure.
think would be missing otherwise.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think that's the cool part about having, like, everyone's allowed to have various tastes and preferences, but if everything was perfect for you, it would be very wrong to someone else. And so I think it's like you have to appreciate, like, kind of stepping back and being objective about it and saying, well, I don't like this chart personally, but it does do this thing, which I think is cool.
And
if you-
also, maybe sometimes what you should do is play the stuff that you don't like.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, we talked about this in the improving episode, but there used to be a lot of songs that I didn't like, and I played them a lot because I had to get good at them, and now I like them. And so, like, it's just, why shout to the heavens that you don't like something when you could just give yourself the chance to like it? Like, just like, be like, okay, I'll reserve judgment on it until I've played it 3 times. Then you play it 3 times, you're like, wow, I actually like it. Now you don't look so silly about posting that you like it when 3 days ago you said you didn't like it. So think about your future self and how your opinions might change.
I think this kind of stuff also just makes you think about the game outside of playing the game, too. I feel like if everything was the same, I would just be like, yeah, I'm going to play DDR, and then you play DDR, it's over. But it's like, if you come across a chart that's like, does really something really different, or maybe something that you didn't like, and it made you feel uncomfortable in some way, that's what makes you kind of think about it after your
So your brain's got to crunch on the data.
Yeah, it's crunching on the data. So that's what happened to me a few times. There's a couple of charts, I think like Poochie was one of them, where I hated that song when I first played it. But I played it, and I hated it, and I kept saying to myself, too, like, I hate that chart. But it made me think about it a lot.
Yeah.
I started crunching on it, and then I found myself at home playing it on Stepmania a bunch. And now I really like it.
I don't think it's a bad chart. I'm just very bad at it.
I'm also
suck at
very
that
bad.
song.
It's a really good chart.
I would love to be very good at that chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Chris play it a lot in Japan, and I was like, it looks like I could do that. I'll just copy what he's doing.
Yep.
Play it. No.
How I feel every time I play with Jeff.
Yeah. So maybe this might be a nice segue into...
I think we can get to questions.
You want to do questions first?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're
running a bit long, so let's just jump to the questions.
Yeah, okay. So we had our discussion. We're gonna talk about questions now. So
And this has been so fun so far. I just want to point out, I would love to do this every week.
Yeah.
If we could.
Let's see. Oh, I did want to talk about the energy drink question because I thought that was fun. So
that's a good one to kick it off.
yeah. So Jess asks, if someone is hitting a wall with stamina, so specifically stamina problem, would you recommend energy drinks? And if so, which ones are the best?
No, don't do that.
Yeah,
Stamina and energy are completely different things.
It's true.
I think it's a complicated issue because the function of caffeine, one of the effects that it has on your body is that it blocks your nerve cells from dealing with this hormone that your body emits that regulates fatigue. So caffeine makes you awake by blocking your body's ability to tell when it's tired. So in that sense, it can help with stamina in that, like, you won't think that you're tired when you actually are tired, which is like, you wake up and you haven't gotten a lot of sleep, so you drink a bunch of coffee or whatever. It makes you think that you're awake. You're not really awake. So it's complicated, right? It's going to make your heart beat faster. Heart rate's going to go up. And for me, I use energy drinks mainly for accuracy. I feel like it just makes me zone in a little bit more.
Yeah.
But really, it's not going to be a magic solution, No. I drink the Monster Ultra Zero all the time.
Which is what I would recommend.
Yes, that is the answer to the question.
That is the official Arrow panel.
I was drinking one during the show, and it's really good. And it makes me feel great while I'm playing DDR. And the thing is though, like, is that really what's going to fix your problem?
No. That is a super stopgap measure. It's temporary. Like, you need to develop the stamina. You do not. Energy drinks are completely separate from actually.
I would say, and Roger alluded to this, that it may help with focus, perhaps. Or if you're tired, like, you didn't get a lot of sleep the night before, it may help you, like, focus or, like, pep you up a bit. But, like, if you're trying to play a hard song, it's not going to make your legs move faster.
Yeah. Also, in fact, the effect that it has where it speeds up your heart rate, like, having your heart beat really fast when it doesn't need to be beating really fast is actually going to tire you out faster.
Yeah, you're using more energy when your heart is beating faster. So it's actually probably... I don't know that I'd call it detrimental, but I certainly don't think it would help with stamina.
Please don't drink energy drinks to increase your stamina. Just play the game a lot. You'll increase your stamina.
Drink them because it's delicious and 0 calories.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that's why I drink them.
I'm kind of against it because I just think that you could get addicted to it, and then you can't play DDR without it.
Like coffee.
Like coffee.
I mean, I'm addicted to Monster Ultra Zero now. I have like 50 of them upstairs.
Yeah, so probably don't rely on energy drinks to do good at DDR.
Yeah.
But also, I guess as a summary, it's like it's it might help you mentally, but it's not going to help you physically.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let's take another question. Naoya Yamamoto from Facebook asks, what do players do to warm up? Are there any specific songs or exercises that you do to improve scores on high-level songs?
I mean, it really depends on what your goal for the day is. Like if I'm going into a day where I'm like, hey, I want to play this, I want to get a certain score on this 17. Like a couple weeks ago, I was trying to AAA Pluto Relinquish Expert, which 17 has fairly fast runs at the end. Like on a normal day, I may start out with like 2 sets of like 13s and 14s, but like I ramped up a lot faster. So I was like, oh, 13, 14, 15, one set, or 16 maybe. And so like by the end of my second set, I was already playing 17s. And it'll vary from every person, like what your warm-up song is. I think for a while, Roger was playing Saberwing.
I was playing
15.
the 15, that Saberwing Satellite Silhouette mix. I was playing that like every first song, every time I went to the arcade, and it just helped get my legs moving and stuff. But like it really depends for me on how long I'm going to be at the arcade. If I'm going to be there for like 5 or 6 hours, then I'll be okay with warming up on something easy. But if I'm going to be there for like an hour or two, then I'll just go straight into like 15s and 16s, something like that. One thing that helps me is the first song that I play, I try to make it at least be on sync so that I get immediately into the accuracy mood.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the only thing I would caution, like in general, with warm-ups is it's very easy to play your favorite songs and play kind of on the easier side of things, just kind of because it's what you're comfortable with. And say like, oh, my next set is the one where I'm going to start going off. And then the next set you're like, well, I'm still not feeling quite warm enough
I do that
yet.
all the time.
And then, you never end up getting like truly warm to do something really hard. Mm. So I would recommend breaking out of your comfort zone as soon as you can. If that means your first song is a 16, even if you're not that great at 16s or you don't know the song very well.
Yeah, it's not going to break you for the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just think like try not to think about what you're most comfortable with, because it's very easy to stay for 2 or 3 hours. You're warming up the entire time. And if you're staying for 12 hours, maybe that's okay. But a lot of people have other stuff to do.
The day before KAC, we saw Fefems come into the arcade, and the first song he played was an 18. So,
and I had to do that for KAC. I would walk in and I picked 3 18s and a 19 to warm up. And I'm not saying everyone should do that, but that was more of a side effect of KAC not having warm-ups. But like, I needed to be prepared to play it cold. And, when I was doing that, I actually got much better at playing 18s cold than I would have otherwise.
Definitely.
So the key is to shock your body. Caesar asks, what part of the screen do pro players read? Top, middle, or bottom?
I read around the judgment. A little bit higher up than the judgment.
And does it change when the BPM changes?
Changes when my speed mod changes. It's like, I'm gonna try to hit the sweet spot of like right above the judgment.
And if there's a speed up in the song, maybe you read a little bit lower.
Or higher if there's a slowdown.
Yep.
That's one of the types of questions that's like, I don't think it helps listening to like a player give their opinion on it. It's something you got to find out for yourself.
Yeah, I think everybody reads in different spots.
Yep.
So whatever works for you.
Yep.
Muhammad asks, what do you feel is the difference in terms of skill levels, stamina, and mentality required to master between DDR and Pump It Up? Also, if anyone plays DDR, do you feel anything different when you play Pump It Up and vice versa?
I mean, Pump is such a different game. The scoring is primarily combo-based, so a lot of your focus goes less on accuracy and more on combo. So it doesn't really matter how accurate you are as long as you're getting at least greats or something.
Yeah.
But a lot of the same mentality drivers that will drive you in DDR will drive you in Pump. Playing everything, trying to shore up your weaknesses, being varied, especially on Pump where you play on single or double.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference, is that a lot of the high-level charts on Pump are on double, so that's a big difference, and that Pump focuses, especially more recently, on brackets.
Yeah, that's true too.
Doing bracket jumps and stuff like that, and triples and quads and whatever, whereas DDR doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest difference between mastering the two.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are really good at Pump It Up, and they come over to DDR and they pull out some ridiculous shit. I just wanted to give a shout out to John Tran, or I'm sorry, the Pump It Up player, who last week he posted a video of a full combo on Endymion Expert, And I think he's one of the only people in the Bay Area who's done that.
The only people in the world who can do that.
Yeah, in the world who can do that. And he's a pump player, doesn't really play DDR that much. It kind of blew me away when I saw it. I was like, wow.
Crossovers is another big thing. So that might help too. That in Pump there's a lot more complicated patterns.
There's things that you can learn from both games.
Yeah.
So play them both a lot, and you'll be surprised at what the results that you'll see, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one last thing before we get into housekeeping, I want to talk about a new segment that we're doing called Set of the Week. So when you go back to the arcade next time, if you want to take our recommendations, we're doing this thing where we're all going to pick a song and a chart. And so Dalton, why don't you go first? What is your pick for the Set of the Week?
My first pick for Set of the Week is Top the Charts Challenge.
Excellent.
Shock arrows, huh?
It's a Shock Arrow chart. I think it's probably my favorite Shock Arrow chart. It's not too hard. It's just fun. And I feel like it goes with the music really well.
Yep.
And there's some parts where you gotta do like jumps and then come back to the middle panel. Or if you want, just jump very high. I don't find that to be very accurate personally, but... and
Stomp on the Dead panel.
Yeah, and even the parts of the song that aren't heavy in shock arrows are very fun. So 14, I think it's probably one of my favorite.
I like it.
It's probably one of my favorite 14s. Period. Actually,
Yeah.
like it's just a very fun chart that I think people might pass over because they go, "Oh, it has shock arrows."
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation for the week.
Yeah, and for second stage, my pick is Dreamin. It's kind of it's a song that I don't play very often, but I played it recently, and it was surprisingly difficult for a 12. It's got a couple of Scoobies, although it's pretty slow, and it throws some interesting odd notes at you, and I thought it was surprisingly challenging.
Yeah, I like it too.
So Dreamin, give that a try. It's kind of a slow song. It's pretty nice though. Roger, what's your pick?
Yeah, my pick is Cachaca, also known as Cachaca. It's a song from DDR Supernova, and
How do you pronounce it?
Cachaca.
Is that really?
Yeah, it's a liqueur. It's like a liquor that is produced from the fermented juice of the sugar cane.
Wow.
Wait,
So
I didn't know we were
it's-
supposed to do research for
It's
this.
popular. It's popular in Brazil and the Caribbean. It's where they made a lot of sugar cane.
Gotcha.
And it's just a really wacky song, and it's got a lot of like transitions between 16th notes and 12th notes, and it's kind of a little bit off sync, and just the steps. You play it and you're like, who made this?
Somebody earlier said it's the Hustle Beach of DDR.
Yeah, I think
if anyone's familiar with
But it's
Hustle.
also like a really good song to play if you're trying to break into being more accurate on weird songs. Like I said, it's a little off, so it takes a lot of concentration the whole way through. It's not super hard, but I think it's one of those songs that's got a lot of character despite being a pretty low rating.
Yeah, for sure.
Character is a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I would rather play 12 like Cachaca Cha-Cha-Cha than that maybe not like the correct chart, but like I'd rather play something that's interesting like that than like another 12 that's just eighth notes at like 140
Yeah.
BPM.
Yeah,
like
definitely,
it's more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this 12 or is it an 11?
I think it's an 11.
I think it's an 11.
Okay,
It's
well,
hard ass 11.
11 air
Yeah,
quotes.
Yeah, well.
So yeah, go play those 3 songs. I'll put them in the show notes. So
And
that,
send us your scores.
Yeah, basically play those 3 songs on your first 3 stages, and then take a picture, do whatever you want for extra stage, but take a picture, tweet at us, SF_evolved. I kind of want to I don't know, we're not going to give away prizes for this one, but it'd be cool to have some sort of
we can shout out people.
shout out people
Yeah.
who do well, or people who maybe if you're just breaking into the 14s or something and you pass that song in the set, maybe we'll give you a shout out. It's I really like the idea of people trying new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we want to hear your feedback on the songs too.
Oh yeah. What do you like about them? What do you, we're gonna try to we're passing off the torch of who gets to pick songs every week. And if you find a song you passed over whatever because you thought it sounded weird, you played it, you liked it, that's really cool. That means you have another thing to go to whenever you're indecisive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really exciting.
One last thing before we finish up, just a couple of tournaments coming up soon that we want to shout out. So there's a DDR Ace tournament happening in Houston, Texas on November 1st. And that's at the Dave & Buster's Galleria. So November 1st. Check out, there's a Facebook event. You'll probably see it on the DDR Players Facebook group if you subscribe to that. And then second tournament that's coming up soon is the Game Underground Arcade Championships 2 in Natick, damn it. I knew I was going to mess it up. Natick, Massachusetts, which is in the Boston area. And that's a 2-day event. 3-day event, November 10th through the 12th. And so that's actually, that's going to be a DDR 2014 tournament. They're also going to have tournaments for 2DX Poppin', U-Beat, Pump, and more. Some non-rhythm games, too. So check out ddrcommunity.com for more information on that. And lastly, if you're not following us already, follow us on Twitter at SF_evolved. Check out our last broadcasts on YouTube, youtube.com/sfevolved, no underscore, right? And then our Facebook page, whatever that is.
Just search SF Evolved.
Yeah.
So we have all the one thing we've done since the last shows. Roger put up all of the episodes on iTunes.
Yeah.
Into this feed.
Into this.
So this is technically episode 9.
Yeah. So this is going to be on iTunes.
It'll also be on SoundCloud, so we got even more social media coverage.
And we'll probably put it up on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And if there's any other website that you think we should
Just all the websites.
Mixcrate.
like, actually, I've gotten some feedback that a lot of people listen to gamer podcasts on Twitch, like audio podcasts on Twitch. So if that works for you, or if you know something more than we do about that sort of thing, you should let us know.
I'm going to go hand out flyers around San Francisco, printed in Comic Sans, to go check out my...
Honestly, we should.
To check out my mixtape on SoundCloud.
Honestly, we should do that.
Yeah, actually, it'd be cool to hang something up at the arcades around the Bay Area.
They won't let us.
They won't let us. Anyway, thanks for listening, and thank you for playing.